Hi everyone, this is Reema here, your biology educator from V-Learning. So as you know that V-Learning is an online educational platform where we provide quality education for all. So to get all the benefits from our channel, do subscribe to it, and also don't forget to visit to our website, that is www.v-learning.in, where you will be getting all the pre-recorded videos, the live classes, and also the PDF notes of this lesson. So let's begin today's class. So what we are going to learn today? So today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 17, which is your breathing and exchange of gases. So you know that this is one of the important part of our life, right? So breathing. So how do we breathe? That is one of the important organ responsible for breathing is our lungs, right? With the help of lungs, we are able to breathe. But do you know what are the various parts involved in the process of breathing? Okay, in the process of breathing, there are various parts, okay, which are involved, starting from our nose, that is through the nasal passage to the alveoli. Okay, so we will learn about the human respiratory system, and also we will see that what are the functions of various parts and how the respiration takes place with the help of these parts in today's class. And also you will be learning about the mechanism of breathing. So this is your lecture number 1. So let's begin today's class. So first of all, what do you mean by respiration? You have been studying this from your lower classes, right? What is this respiration? Respiration is nothing but the exchange of what? Exchange of gases. Okay, what are the gases? That is oxygen and carbon dioxide, right? So we inhale the oxygen from the atmosphere. Okay, we inhale the oxygen from the atmosphere and we exhale what? We exhale carbon dioxide, right? So yes, what is this respiration? You can write down the definition. Respiration is the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between environment and cells of the body. Now, in our body, we have millions of cells, right? So each and every cell in our body requires the oxygen, isn't it? Each and every cell in our body requires oxygen. So it is very much essential for the proper functioning of the body. If there is lack of oxygen in the body, you cannot breathe properly, right? So respiration is a process which is very much essential for the proper breathing function in an organism. So in case of the lower organisms also, they respire, okay? They do not have lungs, they have other organs for respiration. So some of the lower organisms, they respire by the process of diffusion. Yes. So what happens? Cells of the body where organic nutrients are broken down enzymatically to release energy. Okay, so it is the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between environment and cells of the body where the organic nutrients are broken down with the help of various enzymes, okay, to release energy in the form of ATP, right? So in your chapter number 8, you have studied about mitochondria, right? So we have discussed that mitochondria is the site for cellular respiration. You remember that mitochondria is the site for cellular respiration. So this mitochondria is a cell organelle which is responsible for the process of respiration. So where does it take place? What is the site for respiration? The site for respiration, that is the mitochondria, where the energy is released in the form of ATP. Mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. Why? Because it is responsible for generation of ATP. Is that clear? Now, talking about this respiration, you know that there are two types of respiration. One is aerobic respiration and another one is anaerobic respiration, right? So what are the two types of respiration? The two types of respiration are, one is aerobic respiration, and another one is anaerobic respiration. respiration. Now, what do you mean by this aerobic and anaerobic respiration? Aerobic means which takes place in presence of oxygen, right? The respiration which takes place in presence of oxygen, isn't it? That is in presence of oxygen. Now, what do you mean by anaerobic respiration? Anaerobic respiration means which takes place in absence of oxygen, right? So, anaerobic respiration takes place in absence of O2. So, clear? Yes. So, this is about respiration, right? Next, respiration in different animals. Now, as I said that not only human beings respire, even the different animals also they respire. In case of the lower organisms like porifera, coelentrates, okay, porifera, then flatworms, then coelentrates. Okay, how they respire? They respire by the process of diffusion. Now, in their body, they have small pores. Okay, this is the body of porifera. Let's say they have small pores in their body. Okay, they have small pores in their body, so they can respire with the help of their full body. Okay, so the process they follow is the diffusion. So diffusion is the process by which respiration takes place in case of the lower animals, right? Now, what is this diffusion? You know that diffusion is the movement of molecules from higher concentration, right? So from higher concentration to lower concentration, high to low, right? So diffusion is the movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. Now, in case of this insects, right? So what happens in case of insects like cockroach? In case of insects, they respire with the help of trachea, right? So it is also known as what? It is also known as windpipe, right? It is also known as windpipe. So in case of cockroach, in case of insects like ants, how do they respire? They respire with the help of trachea. Is that clear? Next. So what are these fishes? Now can you tell me what is the respiratory organ in case of fish? Yes, it is gills, right? Yes, gills. Fishes respire with the help of gills, right? With the help of gills, isn't it? Next. What about this? What are these reptiles? In case of reptiles, how do they respire? The reptiles, they have lungs. Reptiles respire with the help of lungs, okay? Reptiles respire with the help of lungs. Now, in case of birds, in case of mammals, in case of birds, okay, they respire with the help of lungs, right? And in case of human beings also, we have what? We have lungs, right? We have lungs. Human beings also, we have lungs. Mammals, all the mammals, they respire with the mammals, they respire with the help of lungs. And in case of human beings also, we have lungs, right? We have a pair of lungs. Now, let us study the human respiratory system. Now, what are the various parts of the human respiratory system? Let us first see, okay? Now, what is this nose, right? First is nose. Now, this is the nose, and inside the nose, we have what? Nasal passage, isn't it? So, nasal passage, right? Then after the nasal passage, we have what? We have pharynx, okay? So see, this is the mouth, okay? We are taking food with the help of mouth, isn't it? There also the food passes, okay? And it will go to the oesophagus, isn't it? It will go to the oesophagus through and to the stomach, okay? And here, okay, there is pharynx, okay? Which also, okay, this is pharynx, okay? This is pharynx, yes. This is pharynx, okay. So this is pharynx, which is also allowing the food to pass and also the air to pass, okay, to the trachea. So here we have what we have, pharynx. Next we have, after the pharynx, okay, we have larynx, okay, Larynx, okay. Next to the larynx, okay, here we have what we have, epiglottis, okay, we have epiglottis. Epiglottis. Epiglottis is a very thin cartilaginous covering in order to protect the entry of food, okay, so that food should not go from the pharynx, okay. So in order to protect the entry of food, epiglottis is present. Now after the epiglottis, what is present? After the epiglottis, trachea, okay, trachea is present. All right. Next, this trachea, you will see that this trachea here, it is branched, okay. This trachea will be branched, okay. And this trachea will divide into primary bronchi, okay. This trachea is C-shaped, okay. It is like this. This trachea is C-shaped. It is also known as windpipe. Now here it will divide into bronchi. It will divide into primary bronchi, okay. Now after the primary bronchi, it will give various like this, you know, it will be having terminal, okay. These are known as bronchioles. These are known as bronchioles, okay. Now in the bronchioles, in the terminal of the bronchioles, there will be alveoli, okay. In the terminal of the bronchioles, what is present, okay, this balloon like structures are known as alveoli. Alveoli, right? These are the various parts of what? These are the various parts of the respiratory system. Now we will learn one by one what is the function of these parts, okay. Now yes, now in case of human beings, they have a pair of lungs, as you can see, right? So human beings have pair of lungs. So the right lung is little bit larger in size than the left lung. So lung, that is, which is the main organ for respiration. So human being has a pair of lung. So right lung is little bit larger than the left lung, okay, and left lung. So right lung has got 3 lobes in it, whereas left lung has got 2 lobes in it. Clear? 2 lobes in it. Now in between, okay, in between the lungs, you know what is present? In between the lungs, heart is present. In between the lung, heart is present. Our heart is present in between the lungs, okay, and which is still towards the left side of the lung. Is that clear? In between the lung, the heart is present, okay. So in between the lung, what is this? This is heart, okay. This is heart. Yes, in between the lung, heart is present, which is still towards the left. Is that clear? Now, where this respiratory organ is present, it is present in the thorax, okay, that is the thoracic cavity. So this respiratory organ, where it is situated, or what is the location of the respiratory organ? The location of the respiratory organ is the thorax, right? So the lung, where it is located, the lung is located in the thorax, or the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity, okay, thoracic cavity. So yes, now let us see, okay, next. So there, as we have seen that there are various parts of the lungs, right? Now what are the conducting parts and what are the respiratory parts? So the lung is divided into two parts. The human respiratory system, as you can see, this is the lung. So it is divided into two parts, okay? So one is conducting part, one is conducting part, and another one is respiratory part. Another one is respiratory part. Now, can you tell me what are the conducting part and what are the respiratory part? Which ones are the conducting part? The conducting part are the part which is bringing only the oxygen-rich air from the atmosphere and delivering it to the alveoli of the lungs, okay? So conducting part is what? Conducting part is involved, it is involved in bringing the oxygen rich air from the atmosphere and delivering it to the alveoli of lungs. All right, to the alveoli of lungs. Now, what are the conducting parts? The various conducting parts of the lungs are, it starts from our nose to the alveoli. Okay, it starts from the nose to the bronchi, right? Nose to the bronchi. Okay, alveoli and the lung is responsible for respiration. So the respiratory part are the alveoli and the lungs, okay, which is responsible for actual respiration, which is responsible for the respiratory part is involved in the exchange of gases, okay? Exchange of gases takes place in the respiratory part, that is alveoli and lung is involved. But in the conducting part, okay, the conducting part consists of nose, okay, consists of nose, then pharynx, okay, then larynx, then what? Then bronchi. Sorry, here what will come again? Trachea also will come. Trachea, right? So yes, lung is divided into two parts. This conducting part is the upper part, okay? This conducting part is the upper part, okay? Conducting part is what? This is what? Let me take this color. This is the upper respiratory part, okay? This is the upper respiratory part. This is the lower respiratory part, okay? Clear? Now, as you can see, this is the diagram of the lung, okay? This is the diagram of lung. So, let us understand, okay? Let us understand how it is, right? Yes. So, human respiratory system. Let me draw it. So, see, this is what? This is epiglottis, okay? This is epiglottis. Then from here, we will have what? We will have trachea. Then trachea will divide in the mid-thoracic cavity, in the fifth mid-thoracic cavity, okay? Now, it has got what? It has got this ring-like structure which is made up of cartilage. It is C-shaped, okay? It is C-shaped. Now, yes, here what you will see that after dividing, these two are primary bronchi, okay? So now after dividing, they will be having various branches, okay? They will divide and they will be having again the secondary branches, okay? They will have what? They will be having the various secondary branches, and in the secondary branches of the bronchi, you will see the tertiary bronchi. Now, I will tell you the bronchi is divided into three types, okay? So, first let us draw the, let us draw the structure of this bronchi. So, see, these are all the secondary bronchi, okay? These are all the secondary bronchi. So here you will find this thread-like structures. These are the tertiary bronchi, okay? These are all the tertiary bronchi, and in the tertiary bronchi, alveoli will be present. These are vascular bags, okay? These are in the terminal end of the bronchioles. In the terminal end of the bronchioles, alveoli will be present. Alveoli will be present, okay? So see, this is like this, right? So yes, isn't it? Now, so see, so here, okay, so from here, so it is what? It is like this, isn't it? So it is what? It is like this, right? It is like this. This is how the lung, that is structure of lung, looks like. And in between you can see the heart, right? In between you can see the heart. Here the heart is present, isn't it? So see, here the heart is present. In between the heart is present, okay? In between the lung, what is present? This is the heart, human heart. Human heart is present in between the lung, okay? Now, let us see the various parts, okay? Now, this lung has got two membrane, okay, which is known as pleural membrane, which provides protection to the lung, okay? Lung has got two membrane. One is outer membrane and another one is inner membrane. One is outer membrane and another one is inner membrane. So, what is this? This is epiglottis. This is epiglottis. Then what is this? This windpipe. This is windpipe or trachea Now, okay, bronchi, okay, after the trachea divides into bronchi. Now see, this is the primary bronchi, okay. Now bronchi, it is divided into three types, okay. There are three types of bronchi. So bronchi, there are three types. One is primary bronchi, then secondary bronchi, okay, secondary bronchi, and tertiary bronchi, okay, bronchi. Now this bronchi, as you can see, this is the primary bronchi, okay. So the trachea, it divides into the fifth, okay, into the fifth cavity, okay. So the trachea, it divides into the fifth metathorax cavity, okay. So it is the primary bronchi, it is the primary bronchi, okay, it is the primary bronchi, right. Now these are what? These are the secondary bronchi, okay. These are what? These are the secondary bronchi. These are the secondary bronchi, and from the secondary bronchi, the thin filaments which you can see, these are the tertiary. These are the tertiary bronchi, okay. These are the tertiary bronchi. Now this bronchi, they end to a thin filament. As you can see, these are the thin filament. Bronchi ends to a thin filament which is known as bronchioles, okay. After the bronchi, okay, the bronchi ends to a thin filament which is called as bronchioles, okay, which is called as bronchioles, right. So this is called as bronchioles. And again, from the bronchioles, you will see the irregular vascular bag-like structure that is known as alveoli, okay. And again, from the bronchi, you will see what? Irregular vascular bag-like structure, okay. Alveoli, that is alveoli. Is that clear? So this is how the various parts in the lungs are connected, as you can see in this diagram also, right? So see, Okay, now these are the various cells, tissues. Okay, it is made up of squamous epithelial tissues. Okay, these are the linings. Okay, now as you can see, these are alveoli. Okay, inside, now let us talk about this. Yes, now, yeah. Now this is epiglottis, isn't it? Now this is what? This is larynx. Okay, one more thing. This is Larynx. Okay, this is larynx. Okay, now this is what? This is pleural. This is pleural membrane. This is pleural membrane. So lungs has got two membrane. Okay, lungs has got two pleural membrane. Okay, lungs has two pleural membrane. One is outer, and another one is inside pleural membrane. Now this pleural membrane is filled. Okay, inside this pleural membrane there is a fluid which is known as pleura. Okay, inside the pleural membrane there is a fluid which is known as pleura, right? Inside the pleural membrane there is a fluid which is known as pleura. Now what is the function of this pleura? This pleura, what it does, it prevents the lungs from friction. Okay, the pleura prevents the lungs from friction. So one by one we will discuss these functions. And the lung is made up of what? It is made up of squamous epithelial tissues. Okay, various tissues. Now here what you will see, here one more important thing is, here is diaphragm. Okay, here you will see a dome shaped muscle that is known as diaphragm. Okay, this is known as what? This is known as diaphragm, right? So yes, now see this picture. Okay, see, okay, this is epiglottis, isn't it? These are alveoli, then bronchial, right? This is lung, isn't it? So yes, yeah. So is that clear, right? Now we will discuss one by one what is the function of the various parts involved in respiration. So as you have seen that these are the various parts and how they are arranged, right? So what is the function of these parts? First is what? The first part which is involved in respiration is what? Your conducting part, that is nose, right? Conducting part, that is nose. Now what is the function of this nose? What is the function of our nose? The nose, what it does, it filters the air, right? It moistens the air. So nose, what it does, it filters warms and moistures the atmospheric air. Okay, atmospheric air. Now after the nose, what is there in the nose? We have got various hairs in the nose, right? That is the nasal passage. Through the nasal passage the oxygen rich air will go inside, isn't it? So after the nose, what is present here? After the nose, what is present? That is the pharynx. Okay, that is the pharynx is present. So let me show you. If this is a person, okay, this is a person, this is the buccal cavity, all right? Yes, this is the buccal cavity and this is the nose. Okay, after the nose, this is what? Here the pharynx is present. Okay, pharynx. Okay, so this pharynx, what it does is, the pharynx, it helps in the next pharynx, pharynx. Now what is the function of this pharynx? This pharynx, it allows the air to go into the trachea. Okay, this pharynx is a passage. It is a passage for the air, and the food. It is a passage for the air and the food. Now after the pharynx, okay, you will see okay, larynx. Okay, you will see the larynx. Okay, but above the larynx, epiglottis is present. Okay, now what is this epiglottis? What is the function of this epiglottis? Epiglottis, it is present above the pharynx in the glottis, okay, in the glottis. Okay, now what happens sometimes when you will be having food, right? So suddenly you will start coughing. Now what happens, the food goes into the glottis, okay, the food goes into the glottis, okay, instead of going into the your food pipe, okay, it goes and stuck into the glottis, okay. So in order to prevent that, there is a thin covering which is made up of cartilages, okay, in order to protect the passage of food, okay, in order to protect the passage of food in the glottis. So what is this epiglottis? Epiglottis, it is a thin cartilage, okay, cartilage muscle, you can tell, which is present near the glottis in order to prevent the entry of food into the it is a thin cartilage muscle which is present near the glottis in order to prevent the food into it, okay, into it. So this is the function of epiglottis. Now see, after the epiglottis, what is present? Larynx is present, right? So after the epiglottis, larynx is present. Now what is the function of this larynx? This larynx is made up of cartilage. It is also known as the voice box, because here you will find, okay, in case of boys, you will see that it is also called the voice box, okay, larynx, okay. So it is responsible for production of sound, right? So the larynx, it is made up of cartilage. Now how many cartilage it is made up of? It is made up of 9 cartilage. It is also known as voice box, okay. It is what also known as voice box, and it is responsible for production of sound. Production of sound. Clear? Now next, after the larynx, what you can see? Trachea. Now how is this trachea? Okay, now this trachea is also known as what? The trachea, as you can see, it is having a C-shaped ring, isn't it? So you can see it is having a C-shaped ring or not, right? So it is having a C-shaped ring, right? C-shaped, this trachea is C-shaped, and it is also known as windpipe. So what it does, it allows the passage of air, okay? So it allows the passage of air from the nose to the lungs, nose to the lungs, okay. This is the function of trachea. Now after the trachea, what you see, the trachea is divided into 5th thoracic cavity, okay. So the trachea, it divides into where? It divides into the fifth thoracic cavity. It divides into 5th thoracic cavity, okay. So it divides into primary bronchi. You can see it divides into primary bronchi, okay. And again you will see the various parts of the bronchi, that is the bronchioles, the very thin filament or the terminal of the bronchi is known as bronchioles, okay. The terminal of the bronchi is known as bronchioles, where the alveoli is present. Is that clear? So see, yes, this is all about what we have talked is the conducting part. These are the functions of the conducting part, okay. Now what is this respiratory part? The various, yes, the functions of what we have talked about, the functions of the conducting part, okay. we have talked about the functions of conducting part. Now let us talk about the functions of respiratory part. Respiratory part. Okay, now what are the various respiratory part? First is alveoli. Now if you see inside the alveoli is like vascular bags, and it look like balloon shaped structure. Okay, so if you see this, the alveoli will be like this, right? Will be like this. Okay, so how many alveoli are present? How many alveoli are present? It is balloon shaped structure. So this alveoli is balloon shaped structure, right? It is balloon shaped structure. It looks like vascular bag. And how many alveoli are present in each lung? You know, in each lung, 300 million alveoli is present per lung. Okay, per lung, 300 alveoli is present in per lung. Okay, now alveoli is the place where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. So it is the main place. Okay, it is the main place where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. Clear? Now next is what? Next is your lung. Okay, next is the lung. So you already know that lung has got two membrane, right? So we have a pair of lung, and there are two lobes. One is right, that is we have a right lung and left lung. So right lung has got how many lobes? That is 3 lobes in the right lung. So our right lung is little bit larger than the left lung. Okay, so lung has got how many membrane? Lung has got 2 membrane, which is known as the pleural membrane. So which is known as the pleural membrane, and the fluid which is present in the lung, what we call it? We call it as pleura. Now what is the function of this pleura? The pleura, it prevents the friction. Okay, it prevents the friction between the two membrane. So it prevents the friction between two membrane. Yes. Is that clear? These are the respiratory part. Okay. Now along with that, okay, so under the lung you will see diaphragm, right? So diaphragm is a dome shaped muscle. Inside the diaphragm there is a intercostal muscle which helps in the movement of the diaphragm. Okay, so in the diaphragm there is a intercostal muscle which helps in the relaxation and the contraction of the diaphragm. So see, this diaphragm is what? This diaphragm is, yes, this diaphragm. Now this diaphragm is how it is. It is dome shaped muscle, right? It is dome shaped muscle. Now this diaphragm, it plays an important role. It plays an important role in respiration. So the diaphragm, it contracts and relaxes. Okay, contraction and relaxation of diaphragm takes place during the process of inhale and exhale. Okay, so continuous contraction, okay, contraction and relaxation of muscle, continuous relaxation of muscle takes place here. Now what is the muscle present here? The muscle which is present in the diaphragm is intercostal muscle. Intercostal muscle is present in the diaphragm, which helps in the relaxation and contraction. Now, along with that, the ribs are also present, okay? The ribs and the sternum are also present, okay? Now, see, so the ribs, okay? The ribs and the sternum, okay? The ribs and the sternum, these two also helps in the process of respiration, okay? This two also helps in the process of respiration. Now, how many ribs are present, okay? That is 12 and 12, that is 24. Total 24 number of ribs are present, right? So, 12 in the right lung and 12 in the right side, 12 in the left side. So, total 24 in number, okay, the number of ribs. Now, the ribs and the sternum, they act as a skeletal framework, okay. Now, what is the function of these ribs? Ribs and this sternum, they act as a skeletal framework and they protect the lungs, okay. And the backside, what we have the vertebral column, right? We have the vertebral column at the back side, and front side we have what? We have the ribs, okay, which provides protection to the lungs. Is that clear? So this is all about it. Now, whenever what happens, our lungs get infected, we suffer various types of respiratory diseases, okay. Some of the respiratory diseases like pneumonia. So what happens in case of pneumonia? The alveoli, okay, the alveoli gets infected, okay. The alveoli, it gets infected. Now, you know that there are various alveoli in the bronchioles. So, in case of them, the alveoli will be getting infected. These are what? These are alveoli. Now, what happens in case of pneumonia? Okay, the alveoli gets infected with bacteria, okay. The alveoli of the lungs, it gets infected with what? With the bacteria, okay, it gets infected. So I will show you this picture. See, okay, this is pneumonia. This is what? This is the alveoli. This is the healthy one, and here you can see inflammation has taken place, right? So in the alveoli of the lungs, inflammation takes place. For example, those who are taking excessive smoking and all, in that case also the alveoli gets damaged, okay, and you can see the lungs which is becoming blackish in color this side, okay. Slowly and slowly all the alveoli will be blocked, okay, and there will be shortness of breath, that is breathing will not take place properly. So this is the healthy lung and this is pneumonia. What happens in case of pneumonia? Basically the alveoli gets inflamed. Is that clear? So next let us see that. So see where the lung is exactly present. So these are what? These are the ribs, okay. As I said that these are the ribs. So the lung is covered with a skeletal muscle which is the ribs, okay. The ribs provide protection to the lung, and here you can see that under the lung, okay, under the lung, what you see, this is a dome shaped structure. You will find what? You will find diaphragm, okay. So diaphragm is present under the lungs, which helps in the contraction and relaxation. During the breathing process, you see that the diaphragm, when you inhale, what happens? The diaphragm, it raises up, okay, and during the exhalation, that is when we exhale carbon dioxide, the diaphragm, it comes to its original position, okay. So what happens during the process of inhalation and exhalation, we will discuss, okay. So see, these are the ribs, okay. So the ribs are what? The ribs are providing protection, okay. The ribs are providing protection, and it is what? It is skeletal framework, okay. It is skeletal framework, and total number of ribs is 24, okay. 24, here 12 and here 12, okay. So total number of ribs is 24. And which one is sternum? You know, this one is sternum, this one, okay. This part, this skeletal part is the sternum, okay. Sternum, right. So this ribs and the sternum, the ribs and the sternum are also responsible when we inhale, okay, breathe and breathe in, breathe out, the ribs also rises up and the sternum also rises up, right? And during exhalation it relaxes the ribs and the sternum. These two are also involved in the process of respiration. So during the process of breathing, the ribs rises up and then relaxes or not, because it is attached to our lungs, right? Yes. So see, this is lung, right? Yes. Next, breathing. Okay, so the arrangement of this type is very much essential for the process of breathing. Now, what do you mean by this breathing? Breathing is nothing but inhale and exhale. Inhale of what? Inhale of atmospheric rich oxygen. Okay, inhale of what? Inhale of the atmospheric rich air that contains oxygen, right? And exhale of what? Exhale of carbon dioxide. Okay, exhale of carbon dioxide outside. So yes, the process of respiration during which air is inhaled, okay, into the lungs through the nose or mouth due to muscle contraction, and then exhale due to muscle relaxation. So we have already learned that the diaphragm has got muscle, right? That is, it is made up of dome-shaped muscle, that is the intercostal muscle, which contracts and relaxes, right? Which contracts and relaxes. So breathing takes place because of the contraction and relaxation of muscles. Clear? So it takes place because of the contraction and relaxation of the dome-shaped muscle, that is your diaphragm, okay? So yes, on average, a healthy human breathes about 12 to 16 times per minute. So the capacity of the breathing can be increased, okay? If we do this yoga and all, okay, we can increase the capacity of the breathing, okay? So on average, a human being breathes about 12 to 16 times in 1 minute, okay? In 1 minute. Okay, the volume of air involved in breathing movements can be estimated by using a spirometer. Okay, what is this? Spirometer is a device by which we can count the volume of air. We can count the breathing, okay, spirometer, which helps in clinical assessment of the pulmonary function. Which helps in clinical assessment of the pulmonary function, okay? Pulmonary means the respiratory function. And the doctor who are looking for this respiratory diseases and all, okay, they are known as pulmonologists, okay? They are known as pulmonologists. They are expert in diagnosing the respiratory or the pulmonary functions, okay? This is about breathing. Understood? So how many times? It is 12 to 16 times per minute, okay? Per minute a normal human being breathe. Okay, breathing is nothing but the inhale and exhale. Inhale of O2, inhale of O2, and what? And exhale of CO2. I'll write here. Inhale of O2 and exhale of CO2. Right? Simple. This is breathing. And when breathing takes place, what happens? When breathing takes place, there is contraction and relaxation of muscle. When breathing takes place, there is contraction and relaxation of muscle. Clear? Yes, this is very simple. You have been studying from your lower class, right? What is breathing? And breathing, that is the amount of breath we can measure with a device. What is the name of the device? Spirometer, okay? The name of the device is spirometer. I'll write here. Spirometer, okay? Spirometer, okay? With the help of spirometer, it is a device which is responsible for counting the counting or estimating the pulmonary function. Clear? Now let us see what are the various steps in breathing. You already seen that. Respiration involves the following steps. Number 1, breathing or pulmonary ventilation by which atmospheric air is drawn in and carbon dioxide rich alveolar air is released out. So you already know that atmospheric rich air is drawn inside, right, in the lungs, and carbon dioxide rich air is exhaled outside, right, and diffusion of gases takes place. So what is this diffusion? Diffusion is nothing but the movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration, right? So in case of this breathing, diffusion of which gases? Oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place across the alveolar membrane. So where it takes place? Across the alveoli, that is in the alveoli, okay, in the alveoli. Transport of gases by the blood. So who is responsible for transport of this oxygen and carbon dioxide? It is being done by the help of blood. Okay, we will see how the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place in our next session, okay, in our next class. So the diffusion of O2 and CO2 between blood and tissue takes place, okay, and utilization of O2 by the cells for carbonic reaction and resultant release of carbon dioxide. And this oxygen is being used by the cells for what? For the various catabolic reactions, okay, for the various catabolic reactions. And what happens? The resultant, that is carbon dioxide, is being released. So these are the various steps involved in the process of respiration. Clear? Now let us move into the mechanism of breathing. So how does the breathing takes place? So we are breathing, right? What happens in case of breathing? Inhale of the oxygen rich air, right, and exhale of the carbon dioxide rich air outside, isn't it? So inhale and exhale. So what happens? Inspiration and expiration. It is also known as inhalation and exhalation. Okay, now what does this inhalation means? Inhalation means what? Inhale, okay, inhale, and exhalation means what? Exhale. Now what is inhale? Inhale of what? Inhale of oxygen and exhale of carbon dioxide. Okay, now oxygen is what? Oxygen is drawn into the lungs during the process of inhalation, right, and carbon dioxide is exhaled outside from the lungs, okay, from the lungs. This is exhalation. Clear? Now see what is the mechanism involved in it. Okay, now see inhalation. Now can you see this diagram? Okay, what does it indicates? So this is our lung. Okay, so during the process of inhalation, you inhale, you breathe in. What you will see? When you breathe in, the diaphragm, it raises up, okay, the ribs, the sternum, it raises up, okay, that is contraction is taking place. Is that clear? So during the process of that is inhaling, the thorax, that is the volume of the thorax, it increases, and as a result the pressure decreases. What happens? The volume of the thorax increases and the intrapulmonary pressure decreases. As a result, the air is drawn inside our lungs. Clear? Okay. So see what happens during inhalation. Volume of thorax increases, number one. Then next what happens? Next is intrapulmonary pressure. Okay, pressure decreases. Okay, now because of this decrease in the pressure, okay, the air is forced and drawn into the lungs. Okay, drawn into the lungs. okay, into the lungs. The air is forced and it goes inside the lungs. Now when it goes inside the lungs, what happens during the process of inhalation? The diaphragm, okay, as you can see, okay, the diaphragm is contracting. The diaphragm, the muscle in the diaphragm contracts, and the ribs, okay, the ribs and the sternum, it also raises high, okay, the ribs and sternum, it raises upwards, as you can see, right, it is rising upwards. So air is entering here, okay, so when the air enters from here, what happens? The volume of the thorax, it increases and the pressure decreases. As a result, the air is forced to enter into the lungs, and as a result, the diaphragm contracts and the ribs and the sternum, it also raises high, okay. So see, so what happens? Diaphragm contracts, and then what we see here, ribs plus sternum also what? Raises, or it's raised, okay, raises upwards, raises up or raises upwards. So this is what happens in case of the inhalation. Now in case of exhalation, what happens? The opposite, okay. So exhalation means what? Exhalation means, inhalation means what? Inhalation means that is oxygen is coming, right, oxygen is entering. Now exhalation means what? Exhalation means what? Carbon dioxide is being released, okay, carbon dioxide is being released from the lungs to outside, okay, exhaled. So here what happens, as you can see, that the volume of thorax decreases, okay, volume of thorax decreases, volume of thorax decreases here. Next what happens is intrapulmonary pressure increases, okay, intrapulmonary pressure, what happens here? Decreases. Here what happens? It increases. Intrapulmonary pressure increases, which force the air reach in carbon dioxide to, okay, which force the air which is rich in carbon dioxide to come out, okay, it forces the carbon dioxide to atmosphere, you can write, okay, to atmosphere, okay. So next what we see here, the diaphragm, what happens in case of this? Relaxes, okay, the diaphragm relaxes here, okay, here the diaphragm contracts, okay, and what it does, diaphragm contracts and flattens, okay, and it increases the surface area, okay, here the diaphragm contracts and flattens and increase what? And increase the surface area. It increase what? It increase the surface area. So here what happens? The diaphragm relaxes, okay, here the diaphragm relaxes, and the ribs and sternum, the ribs plus sternum, okay, it comes to its original position, returns to original position. Is that clear? So this is what is happening in case of inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation is what? Taking inside the oxygen rich air, and exhalation is removing the carbon dioxide rich air outside. Is that clear? So breathe in. When you breathe in and exhale, you will see that what during exhalation what happens? That is the ribs and everything will return to its original position, right? So yes, clear about exhalation and inhalation and exhalation. Now the last topic we will learn is the respiratory volumes and the capacities. What is the volume? Okay, and we will learn about this. So tidal volume, what is this tidal volume? Okay, these are the volume, and you have to remember the ml also. So the tidal volume is the volume of air inspired or expired during a normal respiration. Okay, it is approximately 500 ml. Okay, so what is this? The volume of air which is inspired and expired, which is released, okay, during normal respiration. It is what? It is 500 ml. Okay, It is 500 ml. That is, a healthy man can inspire or expire approximately 6,000 to 8,000 ml of air per minute. What is the tidal volume of the healthy human? It is 6,000 to 8,000 ml per minute. Okay, 6,000 to 8,000 ml per minute. This is tidal volume. Clear? It is nothing but it is how much a normal human being can inhale and exhale. How much capacity, okay? What is the capacity of a normal human being to exhale and inhale the atmospheric air? It is what? It is 6,000 to 8,000 ml per minute, okay? Now, what is this inspiratory reserve volume? So, IRV, it is small, it is short form written as TV. TV means tidal volume. How much it is? It is 500 ml, okay? So, yes, approximately 500 ml. So, the inspiratory reserve volume is what? Additional volume of air a person can inspire by a forcible inspiration. Sometimes what happens? There is shortness of breath, right? So what we will do, forcefully we will breathe, okay? When we breathe using force, there is movement of our thorax, okay? But the normal breathing, there will be movement of our abdomen only, okay? Our abdomen will move. But when we force, okay, forcefully when we breathe, what happens? Our thoracic cavity also, you will see it is moving, okay? Clear? So during what happens, it is a forcible breathing, okay? So forcible inspiration. Inspiration means taking in oxygen. So whenever there is an additional volume of air, a person is inspiring by force. Okay, that is what this is. Average 2,500 ml to 3,000 ml. Okay. So that is inspiratory reserve volume. That is extra air he needs. Okay, forcefully he is breathing. All right. So inspiratory reserve volume, how much it is? It is 2,500 to 3,000 ml. You have to remember these values, okay? These are very, very important. These values should be remembered, okay? Then expiratory reserve volume, additional volume of air a person can expire. This is what this is inhale, okay? And this is what this is expire, okay? So expiratory reserve means expire what? Expire forcefully. By force, okay? By force, a person is expiring the air outside, okay? That is exhale, isn't it? So it is 1,000 ml to 1,100 ml. How much it is? It is 1,000 ml to 1,100 ml. Is that clear? So this is what expiratory reserve volume, ERV. Okay, next, residual volume, volume of air remaining in the lungs even after a forcible expiration. So even after forcible expiration, even after forcibly exhaling the carbon dioxide, some volume of air, it remains inside the lungs. Okay, that is known as what? Residual volume. That is RV. It is 1,100 ml to 1,200. Okay, 1,100 ml to 1,200 ml. Now, inspiratory capacity. What is this? Total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal expiration. That is, after exhaling, the total amount of air a person is breathing in. Okay, the total amount of air a person is inspiring inside. Okay, that is known as what? This includes the total volume plus the IRV. What is this IRV? Inspiratory reserve volume. Okay, inspiratory reserve volume. Okay, so this includes the total volume plus the inspiratory reserve volume. That means that is the total amount of air a person is taking, along with that additional amount also he is taking. Okay, there is inspiratory capacity. Now, what is this expiratory capacity? Means TV, what? TV plus ERV. What does it mean? Means total amount of or total volume of air he is inspiring or he is exhaling, okay, with the normal inspiration. Okay, so that is what it includes: tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Next, let us see the functional residual capacity. So volume of air that will remain in the lungs after a normal expiration. So after after exhaling air outside, after normal expiration, okay, not forcefully, normal expiration, what is the amount of air remaining in the air? That is known as functional residual capacity. It includes what? It includes the expiratory reserve volume and the reserve volume, okay. RV means what? RV means, sorry, residual volume. Clear? Then vital capacity. It is the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration. This includes ERV, TV and IRV. These are the things you have to remember, okay. That is the maximum amount of air a person can breathe in after forced expiration, okay. So yes, the maximum amount of air a person can breathe out also after forced inspiration. So here it includes what? Both inspiration, okay, both inspiration and expiration, okay, both inspiration and expiration. And what it includes? The maximum, okay, the maximum amount of what? Amount of air, amount of oxygen, you can write amount of oxygen a person can breathe in and breathe out along with the normal expiration and inspiration. This is simple. That is vital capacity, okay. Then total lung capacity. What is the capacity of your lung to breathe the air? Total volume of air accumulated in the lungs at the end of a forced inspiration. Okay, when we forcefully inhale the air, what is the total volume of air inside your lungs? Okay, that is called as total lung capacity. It includes the residual volume, the expiratory residual volume, right? Expiratory volume, residual volume, then total volume and the inspiratory residual volume or the vital capacity. It includes everything, okay? It includes all. Is that clear? So what is the total amount of air which is remaining in your lungs after the forced inspiration, after breathing forcefully? What is the total amount of air inside your lungs? That is what? Lung capacity. That is the total lung capacity. Is that clear? This is all about it which we have discussed in today's class, right? So we have learned about what? We have learned about the various respiratory organs in case of various animals, and also we have seen the human respiratory system, and we have discussed each and every function of the various parts of the human respiratory system in detail, and the mechanism of breathing also we have seen, right? And at last we have seen the residual capacity. So this is all about today. If you find this video useful, do like it and also share it with others, and I hope you have understood what is being discussed in today's class. So in my next class we will be learning about the exchange of gases and the